You are listening to the Holistic Travel Nurse podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about mindset and your emotions and how are you dealing with your everyday life to things that are in your control to things that are out of your control. So I thank you guys for being listeners. I thank you for tuning in and listening to my voice and choosing to set your mind right now on something good, something positive. Because as I record this, it's the end of March. I am not like the most. I did travel where everyone else is staying home to be closer to my daughter who is at risk and who is pregnant. I was planning this trip long before this happened and came out to Oregon from a little town in Texas where I'm stationed right now for working still in the hospital. And it's been difficult in the sense that people don't want you to travel, and when you're out in a public, you don't want to get close to anybody, wearing masks, wearing gloves, spraying everything. And I amend people that because the COVID-19 virus is going to do harm, can overwhelm our healthcare system and end lives of people we love. And I know that in a lot of places there are people that are dealing with that, and there are also people that are dealing with just being stuck at home and not going out, and jobs lost and emotions up and down. What we're going to do, what's going to happen with this, what's going to happen with that. My business is not going to do that well. So I thought I'd just take a step back and just talk about our mind and governing our mind and our emotions and controlling what you can control. And that is your thought process. That is where you set your mind, because what your mind does, and those neurons that are all over your body affect your immune system, affect what's going to be going on outside in our physical body. Even the Bible talks about this in Romans 8. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is peace. Interesting concept. And I found myself there also stressing out yesterday about things that are out of my control right now. And I'm like, what? Am I trying to control everything? Or do I need to lay things more at God, and I need to say, okay, I can control my mindset. I can control how I'm going to handle this situation that's I have myself in. So my flight was canceled, and then I have to rebook a flight. My daughter has not had the baby yet as of today. It's March 26th. I want to see my grandson before I leave. I want to protect her. I want to educate her and the family how important it is to keep your immune system strong. She's not been listening to me. She's eating too much sugar. I'm just her mom. And so she doesn't get my expertise in what I know in health. And so that's frustrating when you know something and you want to help somebody else, but they aren't listening to you. So I get that. I get that people also are stuck inside. And I've been very cautiously, we've been out and about, like taking her to the doctors, and I can't go in. And when she has the baby, I can't be in labor with her. So this coronavirus thing is really just struck a chord with everybody else. I think about my fellow coworkers and nurses in the field that are working out, that are nervous about when they go to work, if they're contacting any patients with it, bringing it home to their own families. All that negativity thought process can be going on in your head. We need to combat that. We need to combat that and go, no. We have so much we can control, and that is how we process what's going at us. So you need to protect your mind. And now I purposely have been not watching the news. Everyone's been telling me, but I was like, no, I'm choosing purposely what is going in my mind and what's not going out of my mind right now. It's more now than ever. The things I'm listening to are so important. The things I'm going to watch and consume in that sense for my mind are so vital important. I have trainings and I'm enjoying just the quiet time and listening to these trainings and focusing on the things that are going to be beneficial. And then getting, if you can, getting outside in nature and going, you know what? This is so much bigger than us, and God has this all in His hands. And I am just this little peon, and I am just thankful for all the little things and the little blessings that I have in my life. I also find it very important writing in my journal and taking the time to get into a good book. And so doing what you can to be purposeful with your mind, be purposeful in protecting your mind, and you choosing where those, that will also impact your emotions. But we all have moments where we're just a little freaked. So when we have moments of a little freaked, those are when it's nice to grab an essential oil to retrain your mind and go, no, 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 no. I'm not going to let this recycle in my head. I'm going to insert this amazing scent, which works great with the limbic system, and calm myself down and go, you know what? I'm not going to entertain that. I am going to refocus my mindset. Okay, this is where it's going to be. And then I think that would be beneficial for a lot of us, because I think being stuck inside, I think I like actually time alone. And I could think of all those family members that are, everybody's at home right now. And it drives them nuts because they can't get all separated. And that part too. So then it's like getting into just one room by yourself. And I know moms, hey, that's hard when you have little kids at home. You're like, oh, please don't go tear up the house. Well, I just want some quiet time by myself. I want some me time. I want to go sit in the bathtub. I want to go sit and read a book. I want to have quiet time by myself. I want to have my meditation time, my prayer time, time for myself. Yet in this time, in this era, it's so important. So maybe you have to fit it in early in the morning when the kids are still asleep, or late at night. We're turning off the TV. People are just constantly feeding themselves with things on the TV. And it's you know what? I've been staying at an Airbnb during this where there's nobody else there. And I don't have a TV. And I'm fine with that. It's great because I can watch what I want on my laptop, but I haven't watched that much TV, and it's been freeing because you don't realize how much you're being programming your mind with the negativity of the commercials and even the TV shows or things that you're consuming. They are affecting even your health. So you need to guard your mind. You need to guard your thoughts. You need to guard what's cycling inside. And if you find yourself, like I have myself, with those negative thoughts of whatever, you have to find a way to stop it. And then that's where I love to find an oil. Maybe it's a citrus oil, because citrus oils are so amazing and uplifting. And then they can just really help you. Oh gosh, that smells so good. I'm going to, take some deep breaths. I'm going to, no, I've had this thing cycling in my head. I'm not going to let it keep cycling in my head. I'm going to not think on the past of things that have happened in her, or stress about what's going to happen in the future, or what I don't have. Because how are you going to fix what you don't have right now? You don't have the freedom. Maybe you've some loss of income. How are you going to be able to fix that when you're stuck at home? How is cycling that over in your head going to help you? And I found that, I had this time in my life where I had some trauma in my life, and I felt like this broken record of things cycling in my head. And it was so dark and I would purposely put on things, listen to scriptures, listen to preachers. I chose, though I didn't want to. It wasn't like I wanted to. I made a purposeful act in what I was going to listen to and what I was going to focus on, because I had to, so it wouldn't recycle in my head. The same situation, and we so easily get back in that negative thought pattern. Is our brains will go there so quick. It's not even, it's like almost unconscious that we can turn that on in our brain. So we have to do something to protect our mind. And I hope you're not tuning in to so much news. Maybe you're binge listening to my podcast. There's so many incredible, uplifting, amazing stories that people have had success with their health, and they've shared it on this podcast. I just want to thank my people who've been on my podcast and my listeners, because there's impactful, life-changing things that people have been through, and I think it's uplifting and amazing to hear other people's stories. And then they're conquering their health, they're conquering their mindset, they're conquering things in there. And I find it impactful for me. I've loved listening to their stories, so I know other people will. So I hope you go and stay tuned to maybe go listen back to a couple different episodes. There's one in particularly with Mindy, and I don't know exactly what episode that is. I'm trying to look maybe here. And that episode was amazing, where she talks about using her oils to help with her feelings and her emotions, and how much they're helping control her mindset and control her emotions. And you know what? That's so important to listen to right now, and so key to not being freaked out, because there are all extremes all over the world that are affecting this. If we think of our people in Italy, in Spain, in Europe, to China, in the US, that are told to stay in place, don't go, out. And when you go to the grocery store, you are mask, gloves, whatever, wiping everything down, being cautious. And then there's also some things that have been super irritating at the same time that have out in the news. Yesterday, I heard about from my husband that he heard on the news there in Texas, a lieutenant governor who just said, we're concerned about the economy. We're concerned about the economy. And what is this going to do to the economy when it comes to all this stuff? We should just sacrifice our elderly and our things. I'm like, you don't understand it. First, it's our healthcare community that my heart goes out to right now, because they're going to be working so hard and they're putting themselves at risk. And then they also thinking about the ones that they're going to go home to and exposing people. Those are nurses, doctors, healthcare providers, CNAs, all those people that are putting, and the first responders that are putting their health and even possibly their family's health at risk. And how dare you say that our elderly and those at risk don't matter and they're going to screw up the economy? Just, if you haven't seen that, it was just something so negative that this leader said, and it just appalled me. It just as much as it appalled me when I went to a healthcare appointment a week and a half ago for my physical, because I would do for my physical, and I had a healthcare professional first who didn't know the science about this virus, compared it to the flu, and then said, why are they making a big deal of it? It's just the elderly dying. And I could tell you that it just was heartbreaking, and it made me angry. So I know we've had these wave emotions right now, and I've had those wave emotions because as a believer, as a woman, as a nurse, we are to protect those that respect our elderly, those at risk. We are to think of others before ourselves. And it was a very selfish thing, especially for a healthcare professional, to say to another healthcare professional. Oh, it really, really just made me upset. I kind of did some Facebook Lives about it. And so it made me think, though, I'm kind of drifting back with my thoughts, that my behaviors, my what I can control is my mindset, what I'm feeding my mind, how I'm contributing to my body and my health, my own personal health. And then how can I be a benefit to somebody else in this time? How can I encourage you to help your neighbor? If you have an elderly neighbor that you can go to the grocery store for, do that. If you have an elderly neighbor that you have essential oils already that you can gift them and leave it on their door, do that. If you can educate somebody who's at risk, do that. If you can get on the phone and encourage a friend who's struggling right now, do that. Do those things that are going to be beneficial and helpful to others. And then this is a time where I hopped on a Zoom call with these amazing ladies from a Bible study, and it was awesome, even though I had to get out of the call to answer phone calls. But it was still great to see people coming together online and communicating and working to control their mindset, working that knowing that God's in control, and getting together where we can still support and see each other that way. It's just impactful. So those are just some ideas. And if you would love to do a Zoom call, I'm going to get back into it and doing Zoom calls and how to impact your health in a natural way, how to make those changes in your mindset, how to you be the ownership of your health. Don't let it be in your physician's hand. You take ownership of that. And so those are the things I really want to be able to make an impact and help others. And then I love the camaraderie of other people who've been on my Zoom calls that I've been currently doing. So I'd like to know if you, what you're doing. I'd love to know your comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Reach out to me at holistictravelnurse@gmail.com. Tell me what books you are feeding your mind with. What podcasts besides mine that have been a blessing and uplifting to you? How are you dealing with the stir craziness? Are you right now cycling negativity in your mind that you need to stop? Do you have essential oils at home to help you with your moods, to help you with your emotions, to help you with your immune system? If not, it's time to reach out because I would love to put some in the mail to you. You need to reach out to me at holistictravelnurse@gmail.com. I would love to gift you with some essential oils right now. If you're stressed out, these are great things to help you with resetting that mind and your emotions. And go binge listen to a bunch more of my podcasts. Go hear some uplifting, amazing stories. Quit letting that negativity cycle in your brain. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are amazing. And I hope you see that. And I hope that you reach out to me today. Go to the show notes. My email's right in there. You can email me. And it's just one little email. I don't put you on some huge mailing list without asking. You personally talk to me. So I look forward to personally talking to you. I hope and pray you're doing well. I hope you're doing something to feed your beautiful mind. And that you're not going stir crazy. God bless you. Pick up the Bible and listen to it or read it. And tell me what favorite book you're ingesting right now to feed that beautiful mind. I hope that you are doing the mindful thought things to control your mind and that you are not letting negativity cycle in your brain. Thanks for listening. I feel like I'm rambling now, so enjoy this episode and look forward to chatting with you in the future.